So you're going to increase cellular hydration. We're going to increase mitochondrial energy production by drinking this water and making ATP. You're going to get more nutrient uptake. So the nutrients from the food you're eating and the water you're drinking are just going to get in there more. Cellular detoxification, which is massive today because most people don't realize how polluted they are. And if you don't believe me, look up umbilical cord chemical, those 3 words in your browser, and you can look at the study showing the umbilical cord blood of every single child being born today is packed full of cancer-causing and developmental disturbing chemicals.
Hey, Inspire Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, it's John Nolan here. Thank you so much for joining us for another Inspire conversation. And our friend and founder of Chemical Free Body, Tim James, told me today, this is going to blow your mind. Most people know about the 3 phases, the 3 stages of water, but there's a 4th one, and it's about to unleash a revolution. So, I'm as curious as you are to hear all about it. Please welcome with me our dear friend Tim James, founder of Chemical Free Body. Hey, brother, how's it going?
Oh, it's going awesome, man. I'm high on water.
Yeah, well, that's a bold statement you made. You said we got to talk about this. Something big is happening, and you've this has been behind the scenes, all the rage. You've been telling me about this for months now. What's going on, and what is this mysterious 4th stage?
Well, yeah, the thing of it is like some people have known about this for a long time, but it's not really come to the forefront. But it's getting massive credibility now with the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack out of the University of Washington. So there's been other people, but he's the one that's kind of in the forefront now that's getting the publicity on discovering the 4th phase of water. So most people know about, liquid water. That's phase 1. You drink it. Phase 2 would be solid. That's ice. It's hard, right? It's like ice on a lake. Number 3 would be gas. That's a 3rd phase of water. That's steam when you're making tea on your top of your stove or something like that, or a geyser naturally, right? Old Faithful. And then there's the 4th phase of water, and it's very exciting, and it's a gel-like state. It's a gel. Now,
okay, I wasn't really aware of that.
Yeah, so here's the deal. It's everywhere. The gel is everywhere. So I'll give you an example. What's an easy one to understand? Like aloe vera. Okay, when you crack open an aloe vera, does water come pouring out of it?
No, it is a gel like, yeah.
It's real. You can really tell the gel state there, right? Okay. What about a cucumber? If you pop open a cucumber, does water come pouring out?
No.
But what's it mostly made of?
Water.
Mostly made of water. It's in this 4th phase of gel-like state. It's so obvious. But nobody's been thinking about it. It's also, so all vegetables have structured water, and they structure the water. In fact, we're made of we have structured water inside of us.
What does that mean? The word structured. I know many people have heard it and think there's an understanding, but what is structured water exactly?
Well, okay, go ahead and share screen, and we'll get into it.
Here we go.
All right. So on our website at chemicalfreebody.com under Water Hero, if you click on how Water Heroes work, this is where we're at. Okay. So this is instant structured 4th phase water for ultimate cellular hydration and beyond. And just before we get into this is just some of the stuff it does. It improves cellular hydration. You can actually drink less water and get more hydrated. It increases ATP production in the cell mitochondria. Unbelievable. Promotes cellular detoxification. We'll get into this. Improves gut health and immunity. Reduces inflammation. Water is the best for that. Harmonizes your body and mind. Aids in faster recovery times because, reduces inflammation. Promotes youthful skin. Women especially are going to freaking love this water. Makes all your food and your drinks taste amazing. Stops coffee from acidifying after you make it, so it keeps the pH
So that means coffee's going to taste good even after hours?
Dude, yeah, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And then there's countless benefits for animals and plants, and we're going to get into some of that, especially around the plant life, because we have some stuff that we've done on tests on orchards and some other things. All right, so so let's just scroll down here. Okay, so what is the 4th phase of water? It's actually H3O2, so it's just a little different deal. Now, Interestingly enough, we're going to talk about why we call it the water hero, H3RO, in just a minute, because H3RO is very similar. It's the same as H3O2. It's just different. All right. So fourth phase, I know it's complicated, but it's just like,
It's
it's
the
like,
same thing, it's different.
my name's Tim, and it's also Timmy or TJ, or some people call me, Timothy, like my mom when I was in trouble. It's still me. It just has a different name. Okay. That's
Okay.
H3O2 and H3RO. All right. So General Pollock basically did this. So they did a test, and what ends up happening is, if you look, this material is what's called a hydrophilic surface. It means it's a water-loving surface. That's what this material. This is actually representative, not just in plants, but also this is very exciting. Inside of our veins and capillaries and arteries, the last physical material lining is what? It's called endothelial cells. These and those endothelial cells produce nitric oxide to keep the blood moving. Okay. But so imagine this material being like an endothelial cell in this scenario here. Now there's a layer of water that's all negative right here, and this is the positive. So this water is called the exclusion zone because it excludes out the positive charge of the water. And water you normally has on a molecule a positive and a negative, but this positive charge gets pushed out. And what's also interesting is any materials or contaminants, anything else gets excluded or pushed out of this zone. That's why they call it the exclusion zone. It excludes everything except for the negative charge right here. Okay, what was interesting is they were like, wow, this is cool. So one of their students placed a light bulb over here. And what ended up happening was this exclusion zone went up like a bell curve towards the light and then went back down. So where the light was, there was more exclusion zone. And they're like, why is this? He wasn't even supposed to do it. He got in trouble for it, but then it was like a breakthrough. So they started testing all the different spectrums of light to find out which part of the light spectrum was causing this. And they found out that it was actually infrared. It was infrared rays. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with this, because I wasn't, infrared is pretty substantial early in the morning and the evening from the sun, and it's beneficial. But even at dark time, if you have there's these little these little goggles and stuff you could wear, your clock is still glowing infrared. Your coat hanging on the coat hanger is glowing infrared. Infrared's everywhere 24/7. It just depends on the amount.
Okay, I didn't know that.
What's very interesting is that they took a straw and they put it in water and they put some particulates in the water and then they put a light on it. And what they did was they watched as there was flow through this straw. There's nothing else, but it's flowing. So it's creating flow. There's nothing there. There's no motor. There's no nothing. It's a straw suspended in liquid water and it's creating flow. What the heck is going on? Well, it's the exclusion zone inside the straw that was doing it. So the exclusion zone was moving it, but what was powering it? What was powering it was infrared. So we are literally being powered by infrared, and we have exclusion zone water, all of us, which is like us. When we get cut, water doesn't come spilling out of us because most of the water is in the fourth phase. And what people don't understand is when you drink water, very little of it actually, people think it just sucks up and does it. No, a lot of it gets peed through you, but some of it gets turned into exclusion zone water. That is structured water. Okay, which by the way is at 120 degree bond angle. It's hexagonal, sacred geometry, just like a beehive, right? Most water today is at 105.4 degree bond angle. So it's all messed up because man's screwed around with it with pipes and all kinds of weird stuff. Okay, so back to this. So this is really interesting. So you have this, so infrared is powering it. And what they're finding out now is the heart is not doing all the pumping to get the blood to all. In fact, it can't. There's hundreds of thousands of miles of veins and capillaries in the body. The heart's more of a vortexer that also pushes blood out to a certain distance. But it's this exclusion zone. So the entire cardiovascular system is aligned with this exclusion zone, and they're like a bazillion micro pumps, and they're moving the water through us, and it's all powered by infrared. It's really cool stuff. So when you can have more exclusion zone in your body, you're going to have less stress on your cardiovascular system.
So you're saying more exclusion zones better?
Yes, it's better, and you can actually build it. And we're finding all kinds of cool stuff. I also found that if you breathe in, molecular hydrogen while you're taking, if you breathe in that way, no, it's what was it? If you take an infrared sauna and you breathe in, well, you can actually breathe in the exclusion zone water. There's a special machine that does it, but I'm not going to get into that because people.
Yeah,
But anyway, you can double your
actually
exclusion zone.
We actually
just
have it
drinking
that produces the hydrogen. Yeah.
Yeah, just drinking it, you can do it. Okay, so just really quick, what does hero mean? Well, hero was the scientific label chosen by Joseph, okay, the inventor. And what's essentially the same as H3O2. Remember I said the two names, commonly called the exclusion zone or EZ water. EZ stands for exclusion zone. And again, I know this takes a long time for people to wrap their hands around, or maybe not. It did for me. So it carries an extra twist. The tests at HIFO Lab confirm the characteristic 270 nanometer UV absorption of the H3O2, yet Joseph's own experiments also detected increased absorption of infrared frequencies, hinting to a more complex molecular structure in chemistry known as R, which often denotes an additional structure component. So the scientific label H3RO perfectly captures the enhanced architecture. Ironically, I initially called this device the Water Hero because I believed it could save both people and the soil. Then Joseph, convinced his unit was doing more than your average structured water system, rebranded H3RO. And like I said, we started laughing about the synchronicity of this. Thus, the Water H3RO was born. And to make it easier to understand and everything else moving forward, we're going to use the term H3O2 in all of our educational texts because it's congruent with all the studies that are provided, not to cause confusion for the reader. Okay, so structured water versus regular H2O, H3O2 versus H2O. So we get intercellular water hydration versus extracellular water hydration. We get efficient detoxification versus limited. Charged molecules versus no charge. When the water actually goes through this unit, it gets colder. It goes about 0.4 to 0.7 degrees colder. And what that is, it's called an endothermic reaction. It's bringing energy into solution. It's energizing the water. And when that happens, the water molecules, both the positive and negative, are getting charged up. Okay, so you're getting a high charge on it. H3O2, physics is the science. The goal is energy. H2O, chemistry is the science. The goal is purity. So this is like alive, aligned with nature. And again, this is not like something super magical, even though I think it kind of is. We're just getting the structure of the water back to the way nature intended. What is different, though, we'll get to in a moment, is it also restructures minerals, which is very exciting, especially for those people that are doing spring water and certain things. I'll show you. So this can help you avoid hardening of the arteries, gallstones, and kidney stones. Okay. And dead water is corrupted by man-made influences. And what people are saying is, I like water now and I drink more of it, or versus people saying it's just water now and I don't like it. I mean, literally, this water is unbelievable. It feels softer, wetter, and more absorbable. And the other water is not easily absorbed and it just passes through the body. Okay.
I've never heard someone say water feels wetter. I mean, there's something new to learn every day.
Yes. Okay, so you're going to increase cellular hydration. People can read about it. We have research studies linked to this, which is huge. We're going to increase mitochondrial energy production by drinking this water and making ATP. You're going to get more nutrient uptake. So the nutrients from the food you're eating and the water you're drinking are just going to get in there more. Cellular detoxification, which is massive today because most people don't realize how polluted they are. And if you don't believe me, look up umbilical cord chemical, those 3 words in your browser, and you can look at the studies showing the umbilical cord blood of every single child being born today is packed full of cancer-causing and developmental disturbing chemicals. And those are babies. Okay, babies are being born now with cancer. So, the older we are, like us, we've had more time to accumulate toxins from the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, the clothing we wear, the personal care products, and blah, 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 all down the line. So if your cells are full of toxins and you're trying to get good nutrients in, the nutrients are just going to wave high and by as they go flying by. You've got to get the toxins out of the cells first so the nutrients can get in. It's just math, okay? It's like the room's crowded. Sorry, you're at the bar and the 200 person capacity. I want in. It's a great band. Sorry, we have 200 people. Until somebody leaves, you can't get in. And that's what's going on with nutrients and toxins in the cell. Okay? It's great for gut health and immunity and the gut microbiome. And wait till you see this. This is so freaking exciting. I can't even believe it. So we have done what's called a glyphosate bacterium test. Okay? So we took a soil sample treated with glyphosate, which is the active ingredient in the weed killer Roundup, which leaves a bacterium, because glyphosate kills everything except this one bacterium called Pseudomonas aeruginosa. It's a sole surviving organism. And this is a problem because this prominent human pathogen secretes extracellular proteases that damage connective tissue. So could you imagine having this bacterium in your gut lining? What do you think it's doing to your gut lining? Leaky gut? You see the problems, gut issues. Glyphosate is a major, major problem. So this results and underscores how glyphosate undermines gut health and biodiversity of our 60 trillion gut microbiome, these beneficial microbes that are inside of us that are working like a symbiotic relationship like ants and aphids. We need them. They've been around billions of years and we need them in there. They're communicating and doing all kinds of cool stuff, and they're part of our immune system.
So what does the structured water do? Because I mean, out of all the things that you just shared, glyphosate is one of those things that is almost impossible to avoid, especially if you don't have 100% control over your food, which most don't. It's almost impossible to avoid. So I'm really curious to hear that one.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. I have to finish this. So what we did is we took what's called a centramide agar plate. Okay. And this is basically a petri dish. Here, check this out. A petri dish like this. And it's got toxins in it. So it kills everything except Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Now, remember, we have already taken soil and we've treated it with glyphosate, which is going to kill everything we know in the soil, all the soil microbiome, which is the very same ones that are in our gut microbiome. It's going to kill everything except Pseudomonas aeruginosa. This petri dish also has toxins on it that will kill everything except Pseudomonas aeruginosa. Okay. So what we did is we took a sample of soil, we put the Roundup in it. Okay. Then we mixed that into a water solution. Right. Then we ran half of it through the water hero system, and the other half we just didn't. This right here we put on the petri dish. This was not treated. Now, when you see this fern-like growth, that's indicative of Pseudomonas aeruginosa. It's the only bacterium that's living on that plate right there.
Okay.
But over here on this one, look at all these different bacterium popping. So we have, not only do we have added Roundup, glyphosate, to kill all the bacterium, but this is also on a poison plate that kills all the bacterium. And we're getting bacterium to grow on this plate because it was treated with water. Like
how? Like how is that?
I don't dude. This stuff's way over my head too. But all I know is this is a big deal. This is a huge deal for me as a health coach. I've been trying to help people restore their gut microbiome for years.
So what you're saying that nothing else is added, but the structured water. No minerals, nothing but the structured water. And the structured water somehow causes for the beneficial bacteria that's usually in the soil and that should be in our gut to grow back.
Dude, not only did we poison the soil, but then we put it on a poison plate and the bacterium is still growing.
This is probably one of the most astonishing things I've ever heard. And I've heard a lot of astonishing things about water, but this is pretty mind blowing.
Okay. So that's that. All right. So check it out. So again, we talked about, since it's here, it's great. You want to have beautiful skin, ladies and gentlemen. Well, it's a gut issue. You fix the gut, you're going to have skin, and hydration is very important for wrinkles and all that stuff. And so this is deep cellular hydration because the water's already structured. It's already in the fourth phase when you take it in. So it's going to be much easier to absorb and you won't have to drink as much water. and it's time to upgrade your hydration. Okay, here's another cool thing. It softens the water. How many people, and check this out, traditional water softeners use ion exchange to replace insoluble calcium with sodium or potassium chlorides, which accumulate in the soil over time, harming plants and the environment. So you get these people live in Florida and, places like, I don't know.
Yeah, they use water softeners. Yeah,
what's the
all
name?
over.
Las
Yeah.
Vegas and stuff. You got to buy these expensive machines. You got these big, heavy bags, the yellow salts you got to dump in there. And a lot of older people can't even pick them up. And you have to have people pay them to service them and do all this stuff. And it softens your water so you don't have, stained sinks and you can use less soap. And it's just nicer, right? Having soft water. But the problem is the byproduct that's leaving your home and going out back into the world is poison. It's toxin. So you're softening your water, but you're also destroying our ecosystem by the byproduct, and it's expensive. So check this out. I've been calling up labs like crazy, dude, and trying to get people to do tests on this because I'm so excited to learn more and see what else this thing can do. I called this guy up and I said, hey man, like he just bought this lab and then he bought another $600,000 of equipment. His dad had been using the lab since like the 80s. His dad, I found out, owns a water they make water cleaning systems, right? They make water purifiers, and they have 4,600 dealers that they supply them for. So the dealers send in water samples to the lab. He tests them, and then he tells the dad what's in the water, so they can build the purification system to pull out the crap that's in there. That way, they're not wasting money putting in substrates and things that'll pull out stuff that's not even there. Okay, it's just a smart thing to do. And I told him, I said, one thing the inventor told me is that this system, because he had tremendous, amazing results in strawberry fields with this water. And why is because strawberries love the form of calcium called vaterite. So if you've ever had a really sweet strawberry, there was vaterite forms of calcium in that soil. If the calcium is calcite form or aragonite form, you can have red strawberries, but they're not going to taste very sweet. All right.
Like most store-bought ones.
Yep. Now, remember we talked about earlier, our mitochondria, right? They spend about 70% of their energy making vaterite. So check this out. So I told him, I said, hey, man, the inventor of this thing said it will take forms of calcium like calcite and aragonite and convert, which are like triangular. The calcite's like a triangular, very angular form. And then it'll convert it to vaterite, which is hexagonal, once again, sacred geometry, the 120-degree bond angle. I didn't even finish my sentence, and the guy's like, that's not possible. And he's like, you can't do it. It's not possible. Scientifically, that can't happen. I was like, well, get ready to be surprised then, because he actually made me doubt it a little bit. But I believe Joseph because he hadn't BS'd me yet. And so he goes, well, send me a unit. So we shipped him a unit, and here's what he did. He took type 2 distilled water, which is a very, very, very clean water that they use in labs, and he used a precise concentration of essential minerals that included calcium and magnesium and iron and other stuff, right? And then what he did was he mixed it in the water, split it in half, and then treated one of it through the water hero, and the other one he didn't. The image you see on the left is the untreated, where he took a drop, put it on a slide, and let it dry. And then he looked at it. Notice the very angular shapes.
Yeah.
The other one, he ran it through the water hero, put a drop on the slide and let it dry. Same water. Look what it looks like. See how it's more rounder? It's more hexagonal.
And harmonious. It's in order.
Dude, he texted me back and he's like, oh my God. He's like, I'm going to have to do this test like 3 more times to believe what I'm seeing. This is unbelievable. He goes, this is actually from my text that he sent me, those pictures. He's like, this is unbelievable. And now he's like, and then he called me back. He's like, you don't know this, but I'm working on a project right now. And I'm building a new reverse osmosis, because most of the reverse osmosis units will run 6 gallons of water through and you only get 1 clean gallon, and then 5 gallons gets wasted. His is going to make 5 clean gallons and 1 gallon's not. He said, I am going to purchase from you guys your water heroes, and I'm going to put them inside of my unit to finish the water. That's how excited I am about this.
So he's going to go to a reverse osmosis, and then he's going to structure it.
Yeah, and that's when he told me, he's like, dude, he goes, you didn't know this, but we have 4,600 dealers. We are going to sell a lot of these these to people. He goes, I can't wait to do all kinds of tests on this stuff. So he's going like mad right now. He got his assistant hired, a new assistant. So now he's freed his time up and he's going crazy. But look at that, dude. That's pretty sweet. So another thing that's cool for me, because I'm a chef, and is that it's really going to enhance the flavor of your beverages and your food. And so when you're making your coffee or your teas and stuff like that. So what ends up happening, we were talking about earlier, you make coffee, and then as the coffee sets, it starts getting more and more acid. The pH drops down, more and more acidic.
Tastes like ass too.
It's not going to happen with this thing. It's going to hold the acidity level. It's going to restructure the water, and it's not going to get as acidic. So the unique 120-degree bond angle reduces acidity, giving your coffee and tea noticeably smoother and less bitter taste. No more harsh acid bite wrecking your brew and the pH balance of your water. So anybody who owns a coffee shop or tea shop or anything like that, or any chefs at all, are going to love this, because chefs know that how you make stuff taste yummy is fresh. And the good chefs are having fresh herbs and stuff delivered, or they're actually growing them in the shop right there. Right now, if you can get more natural water, what do you think that's going to do to your soups and your tea? Everything. It's like going to make, and you're going to have more repeat business, because people are going to be like, God, that coffee's amazing. That food is great. That soup is off the hook. Right. So anyway, that's, and what's it made out of? It's made out of antimicrobial copper, antimicrobial brass, these water harmonizing quartz that are cut. They're from Brazil. They're cut. Then we send them to India and get them cut at certain angles. And then we also have, and then they're put in there to write. He puts them in there and does something. They have to be perfectly done, otherwise it doesn't work. And then he has this coating. This is really exciting. This Ormus mineral coating, which is made of seawater, morning dew water, ash, and it's mixed into a plant resin and then coated around it. What this is doing is it's actually taking minerals and almost like a homeopathics, where it's the essence of, right? The absence of. It's like homeopathically going through in the metal, and when the water goes by, it's imprinting the frequency of the minerals into the water.
That's incredible.
So it's almost like homeopathic water. And we're lab certified. We're like one of only 2 companies in the world that have a certification from High Flow Labs that based on Dr. Gerald Pollack's work, that we are actually certified structured water device. People can click to view the certification. We have it right here, and it shows the Water Hero. And let me go back here. And then I actually put another link here that says, click here to contact the lab to verify our certification, because there's other people out there that are bullshitting and throwing these, this little sticker up and making people think they're not, and they're not. Because I know there's only 2 companies. So you got to test to make sure that you're getting the right stuff. And the proof's in the pudding. There's Gina Bria, the founder of High Flow Labs right there. And then we have testing that we do at home to prove that it works. One of them is like, you can take a multimeter and you set it on DC voltage. And there's a little video I did on it. And you basically put it on the sensitive, you stick it in there, and you just touch it, and it starts making energy. And this thing is not plugged in. It's not. You don't plug it into anything. You just put the probes on both ends, and the meter moves. It's creating energy just all the time. And when water goes through it, it ramps up even more. So when you see an increase in voltage, verifying the device is working properly. That way, if somebody's bought some of these other devices, it's a way for them to do it. Now, the last thing, as I was talking about these minerals, we mentioned it here, how it's restructuring the minerals. For those of you that are purchasing spring water or mineral water from the store, which I don't do because it's probably in plastic, spring water can taste way better. Okay. It can taste amazing. But unless you get it tested, you don't know what's in it. Okay. And one thing that are in it could be too many inorganic minerals. Okay. These inorganic minerals could cause, over time, hardening of the arteries, gallstones, and kidney stones. By running it through the Water Hero, you can see how it's soft, what it's doing, restructuring like the minerals here, right? So that we have a better chance of that not happening. That's a very important thing.
I have a couple questions for you. I want to get into, how can people order it? How can they install it? What, sort of what is available, different versions of it, maybe even price, of course. But I have you shared something with me, and it was an anecdote, and we want to make very, very clear this is right now an anecdote, and you are looking to get your hands on the science. But there was something about GMO seeds that blew your
Okay.
mind.
Yeah. So I'm friends with Dr. Michelle Peros. She's the one that had all the glyphosate or the Girl Scout cookies tested. And she had this guy at this lab that owns this lab do it. This guy's lab is inside of Ohio State University. And all the Girl Scout cookies came back from different states that they got them from with glyphosate in it. Well, nobody's really paying attention to it until some mom in Chicago sued Girl Scouts of America for this. And now it's getting a lot of attention. Okay. Well, I was like, can you hook me up with that guy in that lab? She's like, yeah. So I had a conversation with him, and he's the guy we're working with right now. He's going to be testing, because you guys saw, I just showed you what happens to glyphosate when it's in soil and the water's added. We don't know if it's the water just touching it and it's changing the glyphosate, or if it's activating certain we know it's activating bacterium because you saw the plate. They're growing like crazy. Or if it's the bacterium that's destroying the glyphosate. We don't know. So what I'm doing is I'm going to have him test it, put glyphosate in the water, and then just run it through the water hero and then test it again with a mass spectrometer. We'll know. And we're going to have him do PFAS to see if it does it directly in the water system. If it does, I'm going to jump up and down and do a bunch of, handstands or something, and cartwheels. If not, it doesn't matter. It's already awesome, and we'll just apply it to soil. So for agriculture and gardens, it's going to be amazing. Right. We're very excited about that. But when I was talking to Joseph, the inventor, I was like, hey man, I met this new guy at the lab because he knows I'm always looking for labs. And I said, this guy works inside of Ohio State University. He's like, oh, years ago, Ohio State University tested my unit to see if it would increase seed germination. I was like, cool. Did it work? He's like, yeah. He goes, we had very high germination rates up in the high 90s. But he said there was a company named Monsanto that was very interested in increasing their seed germination rates too. And so they tested it. But the problem was that after 2 crops, this is what Joseph told me. I have this is, I guess, anecdotal. Like, I have not verified this yet, but he told me, he said that after two seasons that the GMO seeds reverted back to non-GMO seeds. So Monsanto didn't want it. Right. So I'm like, really? Are you serious, dude?
We
I'm
gotta
like,
get our hands on the data on this one.
so
This
I'm
is
like,
incredible.
I'm like, I got to get that. He's dealing with some family stuff right now, so hopefully he'll have that done by the end of May, and then I can get him back in the saddle again. But we have a bunch of devices in stock right now, so anyway, I'm good.
Basically, Tim, the exciting thing about all the things that you really shared today, and even this anecdote, which we're just chalking up as an anecdote right now, we're not saying this is scientifically proven yet, but basically it hints at the possibility that such water, structured water, and we could call it high vibrational water, might have the ability to reverse a lot of the crap that is in the soil, that was put, that was maybe put in the seeds, of course, in our bodies. So what we have been sort of always assuming is that water, when it's returned to its most natural and high state, might be one of the greatest healers and reverse engineers of all the crap. And this seems to speak to that this system could be incredibly a breakthrough thing for many people. So
water is a universal solvent, and I've been telling people for years, you got joint pain, you best inflammation reduction, water. Like, you want to heal your gut, water. You want more brain health, you want more cognitive function,
but great water, not tap water.
Water. I mean, it's like, this stuff is important. I'm really excited about this. This stuff, even if none of that stuff is true, it doesn't matter. Like, what we have right now, what's already working for people, the amount of hydration they get. Nick, I used to have a sprout company. Nick is on our team. He does microgreens, and he sells them at farmers markets. We have side by sides. The microgreens grown with the water hero are bigger, taller, and they grow faster than the little ones. Joseph he was commissioned to help a orchard down in California that had lemons and avocados, and they had a blight issue, and they also had snail issues. And this blight issue is very uncommon in the United States. His orchard and somebody else back east has it, but it's very common down in Chile. Well, when you have lemons that are getting all blighted, it's just ruining the crops, right? And his avocados, he's not being able to sell them as eaters. He has to sell them as for avocado oil for chips because they're crappy. So he's not getting as much profit. And he's kind of worried that he's not going to be profitable because it's going downhill. So he hired him to come in, and he's scared. I mean, of like to have anybody do anything because it's already bad. So he had 400 acres. He gave Joseph 40 acres, 1/10 of it, because the water systems are each 40 acres has a water system. So he took a 3-inch pipe, just cut it, installed the water hero, and watered the crop, watered the orchard. That's all he did. And then a month later, it was time because every month the farmer gets a soil, or not soil, but he gets plant tissue and sap samples from the trees, sends them in the lab for analysis. Within 1 month, the nutrition in the trees went up 100 to 150%. But what was really cool is that the aluminum, the toxic aluminum in the trees went down 400%.
So that's the detoxification factor. The aluminum coming from aerosols and
yeah. And if anybody thinks that aluminum is conspiracy theory BS, the government's not spraying with this on the planes and all this stuff. It's like, it doesn't really matter. All you have to do is go look into what the biologists do. And guess what? They go out in nature and they've been doing it for decades. They sample water, they sample soil, and they sample plants. And guess what? Aluminum toxicity has been going up, regardless of how it's getting there, whether it's aliens dropping it or the government or somebody's grinding aluminum and running around and blowing it off out of the back of their pickup. It's going up. And it's a problem because it's killing plants and it leads to Alzheimer's and dementia. Those little nano-sized aluminum particles literally go up the nose, through the olfactory nerve, and into the brain. And I learned that by Dr. Richard Blaylock's work. And it leads to things like Alzheimer's and dementia. And I'm like, my grandpa had dementia. I want nothing to do with that. That's how, in fact, that's when I called Dr. Treadway and we developed that. He already did it, but it's called toxin detox formula. I built that for me. I was like, I need something. I'm not going to go out like my grandpa. And he's like, oh, I already have that. It's 2 formulas. And I said, can you make it into one? He did. And it's a combination of zeolites and herbs. I take that on the daily because I want that stuff out. Well, now I don't know if it works on me, but it's working on trees. Right. And so what ended up happening within a month and a week, that the lemon trees, right, that were treated with this water were big and green and not ripe yet. The ones right next to it were small and yellow and ripening and having the blight issue. There was still a little bit of blight on the tree, but it was only a month. And the snails started
incredible.
The snails started going away, and the farmer's like, this is awesome. What else can we do to improve the orchard? And Joseph's like, you need birds. He's like, you should get chickens and ducks and put them all over the place and put little houses everywhere. And he's like, yeah, we can't do that because we have foxes and skunks and coyotes. And he's like, you don't understand how nature works. If a skunk has to burn 150 calories to go chase a chicken or burn 2 calories and eat its egg, it's always going to eat the egg. Now, some of these chickens and ducks will get killed, but that's part of the natural cycle, man. He's like, but chickens and ducks have very good eyes and they're good at getting bugs. And he goes, so if you want to restore this orchard back to its natural thing, you need birds. And so he's like, okay, right? So that's what I like about this. It's about nature. We have to get back to the natural way things are if we want to get our body into balance. And that's what this thing does really well, is it's bringing our water back to 120 degree structured water, which is the way it's supposed to be.
So I have 2 questions. Do you need an additional filtration system before you run it through the water hero, or does it take care of everything?
I don't know. That testing that's a lot. It's going to be a lot of testing and stuff like that. So I can tell you what I'm doing. I got a brand new well, 400 feet. The guy's coming out today to blow out the lines because we had a sand issue at 320 feet and it clogged up my lines. It's a pain in the butt. And I'm going to have water. Now, what I'm going to do is I was told that I'm supposed to let the well run for a month. Once the well's settled, I'm going to take my water sample and I'm going to send it to that lab where that guy did the test on the vaterite and the calcites and stuff like that. And then he's going to tell me what I need for purification system. I'm also going to take the same water and run it through the water hero and send him a sample and have him test that and see if it's doing it or not. If it does and I don't need it, that'd be great. That'd be awesome. But right now, I'm still planning on, unless it works that way, I'm still planning on putting a filtration system in of some sort, depending on what's in my water, and then finishing it with the Water Hero. That's what my plan is. But if the Water Hero does take all the contaminants and cleans it all up, then I won't have to buy that $2, $3, $4, $5, $6, $7,000 unit. I'll be very happy. But I don't know yet.
So for anyone who wants to install this at home, what kind of units, capacities are available? Can they do it themselves? Do they have to hire a plumber?
Yeah,
How does it work?
it's real simple. Right now, we have a handheld device. Those are $5.95, and you just pour your water through it by hand. It's just for drinking water and that kind of stuff. You can
So it's
travel with
a
it.
gravity kind of thing.
Yeah, you just pour it right through it. We have a 3/4 inch model. This is installed in the 3/4 inch and the 1 inch models. To get the warranty, you have to be installed by a licensed plumber. Okay.
Okay.
And I'll come back to that. And there's a reason why. But they're very simple. All they do is you put it on the main line coming in, and you want to make sure that it's not in a cold place where it's going to freeze or something like that, as long as it's good, and no hot water. Okay. The cold line coming into your house, and now your entire house is structured. If you have one bathroom and 2 people or less, you can use a 3/4 inch. If you have 2 bathrooms, 3 people or more, then you need a 1 inch. That's what the inventor told me. That's the way it is. So the 3/4 is $995, and the 1 inch is $1,995. Okay, and people get a little discount when they go through you.
I feel like for what this does, that's tremendous value.
Oh, dude, we're probably honestly we're probably going to keep those prices, and then we're going to have people sign contracts, and probably eventually go where you have to pay like $11 a month.
Because
and then it'll be a lifetime warranty situation. But here's the deal on the warranty. The reason why you have to do it by a licensed plumber is about 2% of the units get damaged. 90+% of the damage is from personal installs because people just don't know what they're doing. They mess things up. Now, here's the deal. If you screw it up, you don't have to buy a new unit. You just send it in and we'll fix it. And it's just time and materials. So if it's a little fix, it could be $150. If it's a big fix, it could go up. If you break the unit in half and shatter all the crystals and we can't use anything, then yeah, you'll have to get a new unit. So if I just talked to a guy yesterday about this. He was a plumber and he did construction work, general contractor. He's done plumbing for 40 years. He's like, I don't like buying things without warranties. And I'm like, dude, if you're confident in your abilities, you're not going to have an issue. Like we're not jackasses over here. We're not trying to screw people. Just if you drop it or break it when you're trying to install it, but it's pretty heavy. It's brass and copper, but it is what it is. So we just recommend have a licensed plumber do it. They can literally do it in 15 minutes. It's just zip, zip, and they're out. I mean, it's very fast, and it doesn't matter which end goes, flow, inflow, outflow. Doesn't matter. You just put it on, in line, and done. My plumber, who helped me set this up, he's like, I said, here, try this water. He drank it, and he's like, oh, my God. He's like, that's good. He's like, I want that. He goes, our water's terrible in town. Now, he hasn't put the filtration system on yet, but he just put it in line, and I do not drink tap water, dude. Ain't doing it. But I went to his house in the city, and I took a taste and then spit it out. It was horrible. And he tasted. He goes, I'm kind of used to it. We went down, installed the Water Hero, turned it on, let it run for a little bit, and then we tasted it. For me, it was 90% better, but I'm still not drinking it because I could taste stuff. He was like, this is amazing. His wife's hair, his daughter's hair started improving, like all kinds of cool stuff. Less soap in the shower, less soap in the laundry. Anyway, that's it. That's enough on it. So,
well, so where can people find all the information that you shared, read up on it themselves, order the unit, and find out whatever they want to find out?
Yeah. Well, you can reach our website through at chemicalfreebody.com/inspired. That'll get you there. Or if you go directly to our website at chemicalfreebody.com, just click on Water Hero. It's in the top bar deal there. And then just make sure you use Inspired at checkout to get your discount.
I think you've been telling me about this for months now, and because you were working in the background, you were doing the testing and getting it all ready. This is tremendous value. I mean, really, even the big unit, this is tremendous value, given what this does. So if you're looking to invest in your health, and great water is like so much of it. Go look it up, chemicalfreebody.com/inspired. Check out the Water Hero system. We're sold. We're going to get one. You know,
We might
I've
have
given-
to actually on your page. I've probably got to add. We should go back through and you just reminded me. I got to add the Water Hero to those pages.
Yeah,
now that we have it.
we're sold. We're sold. We want this. This is, you know, optimization, and in many cases, I don't even. I think, you know, after a year of drinking that water, we're going to have so much to talk about. You know, probably a month, and then
Yeah,
3
just wait
months.
till you taste your teas and coffees. It's unbelievable. Even
Well,
the green juice, everything's better.
I can't wait, brother. Thank you so much for bringing this to the world, and for your tireless research and tireless commitment to helping people become their best possible version of themselves. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you.
And Inspire Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. You know, we love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.